The story that you are about to hear is a compilation of documented true facts, featuring characters, events, or places that has played a role in shaping history. Please sit back and listen as I recite this narrative for you. Almost 3 decades ago, from a computer terminal in his apartment in St. Petersburg, Russia, a Russian software engineer broke into a Citibank computer system in New York and with several accomplices, stole more than $10 million by wiring it to accounts around the world, according to court documents and the U.S. Attorney's Office. No mask, no note, no gun. This was bank robbery for the technological age. Citibank said all but $400,000 of the stolen funds had been recovered. 6 hacking suspects have been arrested, including the engineer, 34-year-old Vladimir Levin. Vladimir Levin is a Russian individual famed for his involvement in the attempt to fraudulently transfer $10.7 million via Citibank's computers. The banking industry was at a crossroads in 1994, marking the beginning of the digital world we know today. Banks were struggling to lower costs while improving customer access, and we saw physical branches and human tellers being replaced by the ATM machines and electronic services. According to the coverage, in 1994, Levin accessed the accounts of several large corporate customers of Citibank via their dial-up wire transfer service or the financial institution's Citibank cash manager and transferred funds to accounts set up by accomplices in Finland, the United States, the Netherlands, Germany, and Israel. The bank system that hackers in Russia broke into allowed corporate customers to electronically transfer money to accounts at other banks. This case began in July 1994 when several corporate bank customers discovered that a total of $400,000 was missing from their accounts. Once bank officials realized the problem, they immediately contacted the FBI. Hackers had apparently targeted the institution's cash management computer system, which allowed corporate clients to move funds from their own accounts into other banks around the world. The criminals gained access by exploiting the telecommunications network and compromising valid user IDs and passwords. FBI agent Steven Garfinkel says in the court papers that hackers made about 40 transfers totaling more than $10 million between June and October. The money was shifted from Citibank to accounts in Finland, Russia, Germany, the Netherlands, the United States, Israel, and Switzerland, Garfinkel said. Meanwhile, the bank was able to get the overseas accounts frozen so no additional money could be withdrawn. The only location where money was actually transferred within the US was San Francisco. In 1994, there was no cybercrime team in the office of the FBI. After identifying the owners of the bank accounts as Russian nationals Yevgeny and Yekaterina Korolkova, who had an apartment in San Francisco, $522,000 in funds was transferred to the Bank of America into 2 accounts controlled by Yevgeny and Yekaterina. After Citibank notified Bank of America of the suspected fraud, the accounts were frozen. On August 17 and 18, Mrs. Korolkova opened checking accounts at 5 banks in San Francisco, and a total of $199,000 was transferred into them from the account of a Citibank customer in Buenos Aires. On August 26, she was arrested by the FBI and found to be in possession of a one-way ticket to Russia. Her husband Yevgeny had already flown back to Russia, but she was able to persuade him to come back and was arrested. Both cooperated in the investigation, telling the FBI that the hacking operation was based inside a St. Petersburg computer firm and that they were working for a Russian named Vladimir Levin. The FBI teamed up with Russian authorities who provided outstanding cooperation just days after a new FBI legal attaché office had been opened in Moscow to gather evidence against Levin, including proof that he was accessing the bank's computer from his own laptop. They also worked with other law enforcement partners to arrest two co-conspirators attempting to withdraw cash from overseas accounts. Both were Russian nationals who had been recruited as couriers and paid to take the stolen funds that had been transferred to their personal accounts. Three of Levin's accomplices were arrested attempting to withdraw funds in Tel Aviv, Rotterdam, and San Francisco. Interrogation of his accomplices directed investigations to Levin, then working as a computer programmer for St. Petersburg-based computer company AO Saturn. However, Russia's constitution prohibits extradition of its citizens to foreign countries. In March 1995, Levin was apprehended at London's Stansted Airport by Scotland Yard officers when making an interconnecting flight from Moscow. Levin's lawyer fought against extradition to the US, but their appeal was rejected by the House of Lords in June 1997. Levin was delivered into US custody in September 1997 and was tried in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. In his plea agreement, he admitted to only one count of conspiracy to defraud and to stealing $3.7 million. In February 1998, he was convicted and sentenced to 3 years in jail and ordered to make restitution of $240,015. Citibank claimed that all but $400,000 of the stolen $10.17 million had been recovered. According to court documents, charges had been filed in the federal courts against at least 3 other people in the case. In the bank in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, $1.5 million were transferred, and the Dutch police arrested Anatoly Lysenkov, who waived the extradition and came to the US. Anatoly admitted that his real name was Vladimir Voronin. He pleaded guilty to charges of bank fraud and awaits sentencing. Yekaterina Korolkova has been indicted, and her husband Yevgeny Korolkova was also indicted but has not been arrested. In addition, 2 people related to the case had been arrested in the Netherlands and 1 has been arrested in Israel. Their names were not released. After the compromise of their system, Citibank updated their systems to use dynamic encryption card, a physical authentication token. However, it was not revealed how Levin had gained access to the relevant account access details. Following his arrest in 1995, anonymous members of hacking groups based in St. Petersburg claimed that Levin did not have the technical abilities to break into Citibank's systems, that they had cultivated access to systems deep within the bank's network, and that these access details had been sold to Levin for $100. Believed to be the first online bank robbery, the virtual theft and ensuing investigations were a needed wake-up call for the financial industry and for law enforcement. The victim bank put corrective measures in place to shore up its network security. Though the hack didn't involve the internet, the case did generate media coverage that got the attention of web security experts. The FBI, for its part, began expanding its cybercrime capabilities and global footprint, steadily building an arsenal of tools and techniques that help us lead the national effort to investigative high-tech crimes today. In 2005, an alleged member of the former St. Petersburg hacker group, claiming to be one of the original Citibank penetrators, published under the name Arkanoid a memorandum on popularprovider.net.ru website dedicated to telecom market. According to him, Levin was not actually a scientist, meaning a mathematician, biologist, or the like, but a kind of ordinary system administrator who managed to get their hands on the ready data about how to penetrate in Citibank machines and then exploit them. Arkanoid emphasized all the communications were carried over X.25 network and the internet was not involved. Arkanoid's group in 1994 found out Citibank's systems were unprotected, and it spent several weeks examining the structure of the bank's USA-based networks remotely. Members of the group played around with systems tools, example were installing and running games, and were unnoticed by the bank's staff. Penetrators did not plan to conduct a robbery for their personal safety and stopped their activities earlier. One of them later handed over the crucial access data to Levin, reportedly for the stated $100. Hi, this is Twisted Mind. Quick question for you. Do you like reading romantic stories? If so, in the description box below is a link to an app called Dreame that features a writer under the pseudonym of Annabel Lee. Please click and follow her. Thank you. Hey everyone! I just wanted to express how grateful I am that you took the time to listen to my narration. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am Twisted Mind and please enjoy the rest of your day. Salamat!